Hey guys, it's Blanca, and if you don't know yet, I'm painting one portrait every day for this year 2025. So recently I got to day 100, and there's a lot of things I learned from this journey, and I would like to share some of them with you. So these are the 10 things I learned after painting 100 portraits in 100 days. So the first thing and super important is creating something, even if it's not amazing, is always better than not creating anything at all. There was so many days during this challenge where I was so tired and I didn't have energy to paint. And in those days I would like somehow gather the energy to sit down and paint, and then I would feel so proud because even if it wasn't my best work or an amazing painting, I was able to turn a white canvas into a painting, into something that I created myself with my hands. So just because of that, I feel it's worth it to create. But also those days that I did not have the energy and I was so close to giving up, I created a painting that maybe it was not my best work, but I learned a lot during the process, and that is also super valuable. So the point is, it's always worth it to create. Even if it's not your best work, you're learning something and you're creating something, you're training your creativity, so it's always worth it to create. And point number two, you don't need to feel your best to perform your best. Before I started this challenge, in order for me to sit down and paint, I had all these conditions I had to match, which was feeling inspired and relaxed and having enough energy, and also having enough time to paint for as long as I wanted, and all of those requisites that it was so hard for me to find the perfect moment to paint. And now with this challenge, since I have to paint every day, of course not every day I have a lot of time, or not every day I'm inspired or I have energy, and I used to use those things as an excuse to not paint. And I realized some of those days where I only had like 30 minutes to paint because I was on a rush, I had to be somewhere or do something, I ended up doing some of my best works, at least for me. So that was actually so revealing that it was not necessary for me to feel my best in order to perform my best. And if for some reason that day you don't perform your best, just go back to point number one. Creating something, even if it's not amazing, it's always better than not creating anything at all. The third thing I learned is that progress is invisible until it isn't, which means that there was so many weeks and days where I felt I was not getting better, and sometimes I even felt I was getting worse than before. Like for example, my painting number 8 is one of my favorite still now, and sometimes that would frustrate me because I was like, how am I not getting better? Sometimes you don't see the progress, and you can get frustrated because of that, because progress is not linear. Like definitely that's something that you need to know. If you expect your progress to be like a straight line, it's not going to be like that. Progress goes up and down and up and down and up and down, but somehow that curve keeps increasing, and you don't need to see it so clearly for it to be there, but at some point you would realize when you look back and you see how much you learned and how much you improved. The fourth thing I learned is that my paintings don't define me. The painting I was able to create today is just what I was able to do today with the energy and the time I had today. This is not me. This does not define my art journey or me as an artist. This is just what I was able to do today with the time and energy I had today. So yeah, like I stopped looking at the portraits as if they have to define my whole person, because I'm way more things than that. In one single portrait is never gonna represent me as an artist, neither the good ones or the bad ones. It's the same as if I look at you and I just see one day of your life where you maybe were super rude and you were cranky and you didn't treat people like your best or like you usually do, and then I defined your whole personality based on only one day of your life. That would be unfair. So if you take like one small portion of someone's life or someone's creations, it's never gonna be able to define their whole being, because we are way more than that. So yeah, once I took that pressure off my shoulder, it was way easier when I did a painting that I was not specifically proud of, the next day I would just be like, okay, today I have another chance to create something different. Number 5, limitations breed creativity. And this means sometimes when we want to paint or we want to create, and there's so many options of things we could create, and we get lost in that and we end up not doing anything at all. So sometimes when we limitate or constrain the amount of things we can do, it's easier for us to explore that and to create from there than if we have all the options in the world. So, for example, for me, I love to paint so many different things and I love to use so many different materials, and I'm such a multidisciplinary person. So, my energy is always all over the place. And I love that because I feel like creativity is like my inner child playing and exploring different things. But sometimes I feel it's so useful to focus on a certain topic because that somehow gives you a purpose. So, for example, I wanted to get better at portrait painting and I wanted to get rid of my procrastination and not being consistent in my art journey. So that's why I took up this challenge of painting one portrait every day. I feel if you are getting overwhelmed and you want to create and you don't know exactly how, choose a topic and try to get better in that topic, or choose maybe a medium like watercolor and then you start training that, and that kind of gives you like a compass of the direction you want to take. And then when that's done, or when we feel like good with that, we can change to something else instead of just doing a little bit of everything, which is so fun and so nice, but sometimes can also be frustrating because it feels like you lack purpose. So I feel like a certain balance, like focusing on certain things that you want to improve, but also allowing yourself to play and explore whatever you feel like exploring. Okay, the 6th thing I learned is that style finds you. And I heard this so many times and I never understood what this meant because I've always struggled with like finding my own style because of what I just said. I was always a person that likes to do so many things and likes to try so many mediums, and I would paint landscape, I would paint people, I would paint portraits. As I said, I still do that. I still want to keep that part of me, but I feel all you need for you to find your style is to do something enough times for you to find a pattern. And that's what it means, that you don't have to find your style, but your style finds you. It's like once you've done 30 paintings of the same topic with the same medium, you're gonna start seeing something that connects them all. And once you do 60 paintings of that specific topic, that thing that you were seeing is starting to get more clear. So you're not actively seeking for a style, but you're just looking at your painting and trying to search for what's the connecting line between all of them, what's the motive that all of them kind of have, and that's your style. And your style will keep changing and developing, so it shouldn't be something you have to marry and this is my style for life, but it's something that should develop with you as you develop as an artist. So yeah, I think like style is overrated and we should stop focusing that much on finding our style and just creating, and at some point you'll see you already had a style, and your style is what you make that no one else makes. Point number 7, time is an excuse. For so long, I was not consistent in my painting practice, and I would use the time excuse as if like I don't have enough time, I can't find the right moment. And even though it could be true at times, now I'm painting one portrait every single day. So I am finding the time because I found the way to create that makes sense to me. I found a goal that really motivates me and that I really want to achieve. And now it turned into a priority for me because I felt I found the way to make my art practice a priority. That's why I said the things about constraining and choosing like a specific objective and not just creating in general. And those things kind of help for you to have a goal and walk towards that goal. And yeah, now that I have that, I found that I'm being consistent and I'm finding the time, even in the days where I'm outside the whole day and I have to do 1,000 things. And then I come back at night and I still find the time and energy to paint. So it was not that I didn't have time, it was that I was scared that that time was not perfect for me to perform my best, which is what I talked about before too. So as long as you find a goal that really makes sense for you, really motivates you, and you make it into a priority, then you'll find the time. Number 8, routine becomes a ritual. So at the beginning, when I started this challenge, it felt nice and exciting because it was something new and fresh. But then it became more of a task, and there was so many days that I was so tired I didn't want to do it. There still are, and there still will be. But now it kind of became in some kind of ritual, and I find myself more and more looking forward to the time of the day where I sit down and paint, because it's that time for me to work on my creativity. It's that time for me to do the thing I love the most. Now this became something sacred. Of course, when I finish this challenge, I'm gonna take so many days off and it's not gonna be this strict because this thing I'm doing is kind of crazy, but it doesn't have to be like that for you. Just find some kind of schedule. It doesn't have to be every day, it can be 2 times a week, and stick to it till it becomes a ritual, it becomes something that is yours and you want to protect. Number 9, and one of my favorite, is creativity is contagious. So I can't believe the amount of messages I received in my videos of people saying that I inspired them to go back to painting, or I inspired them to go visit a museum or an art gallery in my museum visit video, or just like get back to painting, get back to creating. And it's so beautiful to see how powerful creativity is, because just by the act of you creating, just by the act of me painting something innocent that I feel it can't really have that much impact in other people, you have no idea what your creativity can generate in other people. And I have been there and I am still there. I see a lot of artists creating that inspire me so much. And there's so many days that I remember myself laying on the bed, just scrolling, and suddenly I see someone creating something that inspired me so much that I have to pick up my brushes and start painting. I love that feeling because it's like that thing and that person that doesn't know me and it's just creating their thing is acting as fuel for my motivation to start burning, and I started creating. So I feel it's just like a fire, like we have a fire burning, and that fire is contagious, and that fire can create other fires and other people that lit up and start creating too. And from those people there will be other people that watch them create and also get inspired. So it feels like a chain of creativity, and it's beautiful to see how powerful it is and how much impact it can have on other people. So if you're a creative person, go create for you and for how nice it feels for you, but also because you don't know what impact your creations can have on other people and what fires you can awaken, and that is honestly so beautiful. And finally, number 10, there's no consistency if you don't fall in love with the process. So I feel it's impossible for anyone to stick to a new habit for more than 30 or 60 days if you don't find a way to fall in love with the process and to enjoy the process. No matter what you want to do, the end result is not enough motivation. You also need to be enjoying the process in order to get to the end result. So let's say you want to start exercising. There's so many ways you can exercise. You can go to the gym and define your own routine and be totally independent. You can go whenever you want, and you can work the areas of the body you want to focus on. You don't have to follow any instructions. You don't need to interact with people, and it's all up to you. So that's a way of training that would make sense for someone that is looking for those specific benefits. But you can also go to training classes, or you're going to yoga or other like directed classes where they tell you what to do and you get to meet new people. And maybe that makes it more fun for you, that makes you stay motivated for longer. So that's another option. Or you can go like maybe play a sport, join a team, do something more with like a goal. I want to play football and get better at it. So the end goal could be the same, like I want to exercise, but I have so many different options, so I have to choose the one that makes more sense to me and that is gonna make me that path more enjoyable. So for example, when I paint, I try to paint and I don't think about what I should do or the methods that are best, like going from dark to light, or those things that are already set up for you to follow. I follow what feels right for me and what allows me to enjoy and reach my goals ultimately. Maybe not following a specific path, but following the path that makes sense for me. So that makes the process way more enjoyable, and that's the only way I find I can be consistent. Because if the process is hell, even if the result is amazing, I'm not gonna be able to stick to it for more than a month. So if you want to be consistent long term, make sure to find a way to fall in love with the process. And yeah, that's all for today. I hope this was helpful in some kind of way. These are all very honest things that I realized during this journey. And I'm still learning a lot of things day by day in this challenge. If you want to follow my journey, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, or you can follow me on my social media, which I'll leave the link below. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for watching this far. And I'll see you tomorrow in my daily portraits videos. Bye!